Resentments, I feel like resentments are layered, and I look at my story through ACA recovery, adult child of alcoholic and dysfunctional families. Um, while that doesn't have to be your program, that's my personal program. And resentment is a recognition of my worth in the sense that I'm not getting something I deserve. And resentments being a state of awareness, wherein the more insight and awareness I have, the more resentments I might have. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to take this full circle. It's going to sound bad, but I promise I'm going to pull it back around. I don't know that they go away. And while resentments do not feel good, try to consider a resentment as a recognition of worth, especially in a dynamic that involves codependency. Excuse me. There are stages of that codependency where I really give up my worth unconsciously. And I'm investing and making really, I'm going to speak in the I, everything other than me important. And in that natural dynamic, remember, codependency isn't about, it's not bad, it's about stabilization. What makes codependency dysfunctional is that there's not a repair. So if codependency, Amberism, if codependency becomes my relationship language and I am stuck in that level of survival, I am saying to the world and everything and everyone in it, you are more important than me. And there is not just a lack of identity, there is a lack of worth. There is a lack of sense of self. So in my recovery program, when those resentments start coming in, it's because I'm coloring myself in. It's because I'm regaining some sense of self and some identity. And the shit that I was okay with before, I'm now no longer okay with. And while resentment feels yucky, boy, isn't that a sign of growth? Isn't that a sign of change? That what I used to be okay with, that meant I had no sense of self, now I'm not okay with and has to be renegotiated. The tricky thing about resentments is oftentimes I will notice them with me and someone else. Yeah, deep breath with me. And oftentimes the resentment is with me and me. The repair work, yes, it absolutely exists with me and others. It has to. And I will notice in others before I notice in me. That judgment. I'm very resentful of a previous version of me that thought that shit was okay. And that's a hard dynamic when I just spent the first, I don't know, 5 minutes of this topic talking about loss of self. So when I didn't even know her and now I'm going to be mad at her, it is the idea of recovery, and it is the reframe around working towards my truest and highest self, whether in your words, that's a remembering her or him, or that's a becoming of her or him. Because some of us and this was mine, but it doesn't mean it's everyone's. I was never that. In utero, I was already codependent. My mom literally had me to have someone to love on her. So in my state of recovery and in my state of awareness, I'm learning what I need from me. And then I also somehow have to fucking figure out how to communicate that with everyone else, that they also have to give that to me. In some 12-step programs, there is a saying that was a very strong principle for me for years of my recovery. And it is, an expectation is a premeditated resentment. An expectation is a premeditated resentment. I talk about this a lot in here, and I want to bring us back to self, because that is, at the HC, at the Healing Collective, this is our whole model, is the relationship with me and me. While I do have some unrealistic expectation for others, and boy, can I really see that sometimes, of my kids, of my husband, of my mom, who has never had any level of recovery. I also have incredibly unrealistic expectations of myself. I'm just supposed to know some shit. I never experienced health, but by golly, I'm supposed to know what that feels like, what it looks like, what it sounds like. It is this expectation that starts with me that I project onto others in my relationships. And it's rooted in me and me. So when I can't be in this state of acceptance of me, I'm probably going to be having some expectations, and those are probably going to create some resentments. As I create this, are you able to see in your mind's eye the cycle that is forming? Without a relationship with me, I create expectations that I'm just supposed to know, that then form these resentments that show up in all my external relationships, but yet are rooted in me. I can stay on this merry-go-round for decades. I did, and can still be at times. And what my recovery brings me back to is my life, my relationships, they're a mirror of me. How I treat me will be how I treat others. So when I can look at times I do this, I do this. I don't know what it is. Cycles of the moon, I don't know. But I can just be looking at my husband and just judge the shit out of him. Just really take his inventory. He has no clue because my face doesn't show it. But I am just judging the shit out of him, taking his inventory. And what I can tell you in those moments is I'm not really connected with me. I'm in a pretty dissociated state, and I'm searching outside of myself for something to make me feel better. That dissociated state is looking for something to control. There's a lot of control that can happen in judgment. But I'm judging the wrong thing because I don't have any control over him. I have control over me. I can influence what I hear, see, think, feel. And so when I'm working my program and my rituals or my practices or my meditations, whatever that is for you, on a daily basis, bring me back home, meaning bring me back to me and me, that's when I get the state of awareness to notice what I'm doing to my husband. And some days, not all the time, some days I can get to the point to recognize I am brutal to me. I don't give myself a lot of permission. I don't give myself a lot of grace. I do expect myself to just know how to do shit. I do weaponize being a therapist against, I should know it. I should be able to do it. And that's not just because I'm a therapist. If I was a nurse, I'd be doing the same shit. Like, I'm not trying to make what I do any worse than anyone else's. I'm not trying to hurt myself. I'm just saying that's how I weaponize it. That's how I do to me what was done to me. So the programs, the structure of programs, recovery, and whatever that looks like for you, if that's a 12-step program, if that's ACA like mine, it's meant to bring me back home. It's meant to bring me back to home base. Reset. Where do I ground? Where do I embody? What does it mean to me? And when I'm not doing that to my husband, I can do that to my mom pretty harshly. And what I know about those resentments is they keep me outside my body. They keep me focused out here on the things that I can't change, control, and I have no power over. But when I notice what I do out here is also what I do in here, that awareness brings me back to coloring me in. And the more grace I have with me and the more patience I have with me, all of a sudden now when I'm interacting with my husband, doesn't mean some of what I was thinking, saying, and doing wasn't true. Doesn't mean that. It does mean I can interact with it in a different way. Sometimes that might be boundaries. Sometimes that might be space. I need a girls' weekend. I need alone time. Or it also could mean I need a hug. Like, there's nothing wrong or bad with whatever it is I need. That's what I hope you take away from that message. And it's me creating it. I determine what I need and I create it. Resentments are another sign of being able to recognize my worth, guidelines that were crossed, and where I still can invest in me from a state of recovery, where I still need some work, where I can still use more grace. And frequently, those around me love me better than I love me. So I let them teach me. Wow. I I too really appreciate you guys' shares and the level of awareness and insight you have. I know that at times in my recovery program, not my program, at times in my recovery from codependency, from trauma, it felt really fucking good to blame somebody else. Like I just need to own that at times is part of a process. Because if we try to bypass that, number one, you're probably still stuck in your codependency because you're pleasing or fawning. But number two, it is the awareness of that I need to be pissed for a little bit and I'll get to where I'm going. But it is this roadmap. It is this journey. It is this, I need to transition from one place to the other. When I talk about the 1 and the 10 and trying to land on the 4 to the 6, I usually got to swing all the way over first. So in someone's share, they asked me to answer this question. If it's my fault or your fault, it's probably still my pathology. It doesn't mean resentment. When I am in my recovery and I am exploring healing from a resentment, I love that you guys really heard me say, I also can't blame me. Like, That's not the answer either. I know my pathology sounds like if it's not my fault, it's fucking your fault. And those are the only two solutions. So when I'm stuck in that blame and I get that polarized, it is my sign of, well, those two aren't the answer. So I also don't have to hold something so it doesn't hurt my children or it doesn't hurt my husband or it doesn't hurt my mom. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to hurt anybody that I love. And me holding it so it doesn't hurt them and or repairing it, because I feel like that may have been the intention, is to recognize that I have a right to have feelings about this situation that unfolded, and it might be no one's fault. That is a really high state of consciousness to be in. To be able to be embodied. When I'm blaming, I'm very heady, I'm very dissociated. When I can recognize in my body that it's really not my fault and it really isn't their fault. And the reality is the 4 to 6 is that that's really fucked up that it happened to anyone. That is a really high state of consciousness. And it might take me a little while to get there, but I usually do make it there. Not always by myself, though, because there is the power in the witnessing. It is what we do in this meeting. The ability to be mad and angry and walk through that roadmap to get to the other side for the reframe of, oh, because I can also tell you what happens if you don't do that roadmap. It's called spiritual bypass. It's fawning. So when I can see clearly and I don't feel the need for it to be polarized, my fault, your fault, blame me or blame you, I can recognize that that situation just fucking sucked. It was really hard that all those bills came up at a time when that happened. And if circumstances were different, I might have said no. Like, recognizing that if circumstances were different for both parties, there probably would have been a different outcome. And because this is a very real thing, when it is a medical or a mental health situation, I got a right to be fucking resentful because I didn't ask for none of this. And goodness knows, neither did the person that's suffering from it, right? Like, it isn't anybody's fault. It's just a fact that everybody has a right to be pissed. What we do with that is how we repair that wound from our past. Number one, we have to be witnessed. We have to have permission to have all the feelings because that is the roadmap. But in having those feelings, I'm not doing anything to anyone. That's why if you work with me and my team, we're going to tell you, you got to have a support system other than that loved one. Because it feels like your fault or my fault. So being able to recognize that I can be witnessed and supported by someone other than that loved one is what allows me to go through the roadmap and take some ownership of, I can really see that, boy, if those circumstances were different, I would not do that again. That's the repair. Like, that is it. It is the awareness of, man, I just helped her for 24 hours straight and I need to limit myself to 4 hours, right? Like, when we go over guidelines and I say this is a living, breathing document because I don't always know what I need until I need it, that's an example of it. I don't know that my capacity is lower today and I need less until I'm in it. So it is just a recognition of the permission to shift and change, to not always fucking know the answer. Because my brain tells me I'm just supposed to know.